The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au. Welcome to the KRGS Doors Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Blackman. The aim of our podcast is to talk to cool people with cool stories, whether it be our suppliers, customers, staff, other business owners, or people from different walks of life, and get to know them a bit better. If you're interested in coming on, drop us a line or email, or connect with us via Facebook, and we can have a chat to see what we can do. Today on episode 57 of the 4-year-old KRGS Doors podcast, I'm joined by KRGS Doors Managing Director Clayton Blackman, and we talk to Loren Barry. Loren's no stranger to the mic, having built her name on some of Australia's biggest radio platforms, from Nova to Triple M, and now on the hot hits, where her infectious energy and sharp music instincts made her a fan favourite. She's interviewed chart-topping artists, broken new tracks before they hit the mainstream, and brought listeners closer to the stories in her world. I'll also let you in on our next episode's guest, but for now, please welcome to the podcast, Ms. Loren Barry.
If this doesn't turn you on, folks, you haven't got a switch.
Loren Barry, thank you very much for joining us on the KRGS Doors podcast. What is the Loren Barry story?
Oh my God, the Loren Barry story. Where do I begin? In terms of like the whole story, what do you think?
Wherever you want to start, the beginning, wherever. We're all ears.
So I was born and raised in Melbourne, and I will always go back to Melbourne. I live in Sydney now, but Melbourne is always going to be home. Grew up in a single parent family with just my mum. She's the best human being on the planet. My dad passed away when I was 13, and I think that's like a big part of why I am who I am. Like, it kind of was a bit, obviously it was traumatic, but I think it really kind of made me grow up very early and kind of look at life very differently as well.
Yeah.
And then I was a gymnastics teacher for 10 years.
Really?
And then, yeah.
Something you don't know?
I was studying teaching, and I got a job as a Casanova at Nova, which is just like the street team. And then I got offered the job on Kate, Tim and Marty as like a junior producer. And I was like in my second placement at teaching, and I sort of was like, all right, see ya, I'm not coming back here, bye. I just went and became a producer on Kate, Tim and Marty. And yeah, I was there for 6 years.
And what a great radio show that was.
Oh my God. Honestly, like the best radio show in Australian history. It was just one of the funniest radio shows ever made. The chemistry there was just
they all bounced off each other.
Yeah, it was so good. And then I went with Marty to Triple M, and now I'm here doing national nights on the Hit Network.
Yeah.
That's kind of my story in a nutshell. I don't know.
Host of the hot hits now, which is excellent.
Yeah. Yes.
So you did mention there how you got into the radio game. How did the job as a Casanova on Nova, I assume, and from what I know, you're out and about handing out tickets and cold hard cash and cans of Coke and that type of thing out on the road. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I had a friend who worked there, and I remember at the time being like, that is so cool. I was like, that is the coolest fucking job. I want that job. And I sent this email I knew they were hiring because my friend Matt had told me. And I sent this email to Taryn Evans, who was the coordinator at the time. And I sent her my resume, and obviously there wasn't much on there. I'd had one job for my whole life. And I sent her this big cover letter, and I sent a photo of myself, and I was like, and this is my hopeful face. Like a photo of myself. And I went for the interview, and I got the job. And I remember I was at Sovereign Hill in Victoria with my some friends. Yeah, like just for the day. And I was standing on top of this big lookout thing, and I got the call, and they were like, you've got the job as a Casanova. And I was like, my life has peaked. This is the best day ever.
How old were you at that stage?
24, I think.
So you would have thought, this is my job for the next life. I don't need anything else.
I've succeeded in life at the age of 24.
Exactly.
I'm
and
a Casanova.
Maybe subconsciously I knew, I was like, this is what you're going to be doing. Like, this is the path that you're going to take. But in the moment, I was just like, this is the best. Like, wow, I'm going to be in radio.
It suits your personality, Loren.
Oh, thank you.
Now, from there, as you mentioned, you went to a junior producer. Did you study at uni, at TAFE or anything like that in that role, or you just picked it up on the fly, on the job learning?
Picked it up on the fly. I started off the first day I met Marty. He came in. I was like terrified. I had not really
Shit scared of him.
met him before. I hadn't really interacted with him. And I was taking over from a girl named Jess Barth, and she was moving to Sydney to be in a more senior role. And I was just sitting there in this chair, and he walked in and he just looked at me and he went, "No." And then he walked out again, and I was like, okay. Okay. And the job basically was just at first me making coffee and getting his Uber Eats and things like that. And then over time, and that was kind of it. And then over time, it kind of progressed to more like doing content. And that show was kind of a very well-oiled machine. It just kind of, Tim took a lot of charge. It kind of all just ran very smoothly and just, we weren't doing like big story arcs or things like that. And even when I worked on Marty's show and I was still technically a producer, I've kind of never had to do the story arc things that they do on other shows, which takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And I don't know. I think producing especially, it's all about how you can deal with the talent that you're working with and having the backbone to kind of deal with these big personalities and make everyone work together and help facilitate that. And I remember Michelle Laurie saying to me, she was still working at Nova, and she said, "Oh, how are you going with Shigs? Like, how's he going?" And I said, "Oh, fine. Like, when he pisses me off, I just flip him the bird and I
let him know."
Off. Yeah, and she was like, "That's perfect. Keep doing that. He would love that." And I did.
Him and Shigsy and Tim Blackwell were fantastic on that show. Like the chemistry, they just bounced so much off each other.
Yeah, they were hilarious.
And obviously Kate chimed in with her side
quirkiness,
of things. Yes. But it was so good.
For those that didn't know, on that show, obviously Kate and Tim were based here in Sydney, and Marty and yourself were in Melbourne. Was that a big impact on you, sort of not being in the office as such, in and around, but being based in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think for me it was. There were definitely some days where I felt very isolated. Like, I was really close with the team in Sydney, and I would see them as much as I could, and I'm really close with Marty and stuff. But there was just certain times, like, kind of where we'd have worked our asses off for the whole year, and it would be like the last show, and they'd all be sitting in, we'd have Skype up every day, and they'd all be sitting in the office like having a champagne and like, and Marty would have fucked off like as soon as the show was over. So he's not sitting there with me. So I'd just be like, "All right, bye guy." Like, it was very isolating, but at the same time I always felt, I was like, be grateful. You're on this number one show. It's like the best. You've just got to stick it out. And I was getting paid absolutely fucking terribly. And my mum would be like, "You need to quit." And I was like, "You don't understand, Mum. I have to stay. Like, I have to stay. This is the industry.
This is the footsteps."
Exactly. And then, so it was very isolating. And then COVID happened, and they weren't in lockdown, and I was in lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
Every day. But Marty was doing the show from home.
Yeah.
So I would be coming in every day and just kind of sit by myself, which was better to get out of the house, I guess. But they weren't in lockdown, so they'd be like talking about their weekend.
Yeah, and you're going, "Oh, geez, I miss that. I miss that."
Yeah, my weekend was great. I stayed at home. Yeah, thanks, guys.
It was awful. But anyway, yeah.
Thanks, Dan Andrews.
Yeah, good work, Dan Andrews. Genius.
So then, obviously, that show split up for various reasons, and Marty ended up on Triple M, and you followed him there, or did he request you to come there? How did that happen?
The people at, like, the big bosses at Triple M sort of reached out to me. I mean, I kind of knew it was in the works a little bit, but that kind of wasn't until Marty had sort of left. So we hadn't been in a huge amount of contact. And then, I think he'd sort of said to them, "I'd love to get Loren on," and he'd sort of mentioned it to me, and then they reached out to me. Then I started there, it was a challenge that I needed. And at that stage, like, I knew it would have on-air components, but it wasn't, like, Marty was very clear. He's like, "You're still a producer. You will have a microphone in front of you, but it won't be like you're talking all the time. Like, this is," I think he had a different idea for that show. It was going to be more of a, not talk back, but like it was going to be very him, and he didn't expect it to become this sort of big ensemble cast show.
With the 4 of you.
Yeah. And then over time, it just like, so at the start, if you I couldn't possibly go back now and listen to the start because I'd be mortified, but it's like, it's not much. I'm just kind of doing the games here and there or doing a little bit. And then by the end, it was like, you couldn't shut me up. It was just,
Marty was the minimalist there.
Yeah. I think it was kind of the best way to learn how to do radio. And I'm sitting there doing it with Marty, who's, a radio veteran, and he's so good at it. And I just kind of got to be completely myself and just completely build this relationship with the listeners completely as myself, which I think is a rare thing because a lot of people go in to their own show and they have to, I don't know, put on a kind of front, and whereas I just kind of got to do whatever and completely.
I think, Loren, that's why that show was so successful, because no 2 days were the same. You just didn't know what was going to happen the next day. You know what I mean? It was just my favourite part of that was always the top 3 at 3 with the World Series or the music behind it, and the cricket music. Oh, that was, I used to love that. That was so good.
Yeah.
Top 3 at 3. And then they'd all chime in at the end. Top 3 at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And then from that, you got the opportunity to where you are now, Hot Hits. So were you headhunted for that role, or you felt that it was an opportunity there to maybe step out of the shadow and take your own path?
I was ready for that. I think, so I left the Marty She God show, and I think in November. I left that show, and I knew there was things in the works, and my bosses have been very, very good to me. And so I was still within the SCA network, company. And they were like, just sit tight. We've got something for you next year. We've got something. And I was like, okay, just sort of took December, didn't hear anything. And then I'd said to one of my bosses, I was like, I really would love to do nights radio. And he was like, oh, I didn't think you'd want to do that. And I was like, why? I was like, the hours are great. It's like you meet so many interesting people. Like, I'd really love to do it. And he was like, okay. And then about 3 weeks later, he's like, so you're doing nights radio next year. And
but it's in Sydney.
He's like, but it's going to be in Sydney. And I was like, oh. I was like, is there any way I can do it in Melbourne? He's like, no. He's like, because the team's already there, like who we want to do the shows up there, and for like
chemistry,
record labels and interviews and stuff. If they're going to do one city, they'll do Sydney. But if they're going to do both, they'll do Sydney, Melbourne. And I was like, right, okay. And then he told me it's with Nick Kelly, who I'd never worked with him. The only time we'd ever socialized was literally at the ACRAs, which is like the radio awards, doing like just pissed as anything. So I was like, I'd never interacted with him sober. I was like, he's the best. Like, he's just the best. He's so intelligent, and his music knowledge is unlike anyone else in the industry, and his interview skills are insane. So literally I found out it was with him, and this is his dream as well. I was like, this
meant to be
the best. This is meant to be. And I was almost more excited for him because I knew how hard he had worked. Like, he's been working in radio since he was like 16.
Right. Wow.
Just chipping away. He did a version of the Hot Hits on the weekend. And he got called into a meeting. He thought he was going to be fired or do like work day, and then he found out it was with me, and he just,
How good.
So it was amazing. And then I sort of flew up on a Wednesday night. Our photo shoot, I couldn't tell anyone why I was going to Sydney. I couldn't tell anyone I was going to Sydney. Our photo shoot was on the Thursday. I got into my hotel room that I was meant to be staying in for like a month.
Yep.
Opened the door, and I just was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I went to the supermarket and I was like, go get some groceries. And I came back and I was like, this is fine. This is fine. I miss my mum. I miss my boyfriend.
I miss my dog.
And then, oh my God. And then I just started bawling, and I was like, put spoons in the freezer. I was like, cool, this is going to be fine. You're going to have puffy eyes for the photo shoot. Don't worry. Anyway, the photo shoot was fine. And then, they announced the show on the Monday, and we started on the Monday. That was kind of it. And it's just been all systems go since.
Yeah. A whirlwind.
I'm not going to ask you your age, but you said you started when you were 24. How long have you been in the industry now?
11 years.
Okay. So what do you think you put your success down to?
I think there's a few things. I remember when I was teaching gymnastics, and I started dating my ex-boyfriend at the time, and one of his ex-girlfriends said to him, or like they were kind of, I don't know, there was a lot going on there, and she was a bit funny about it. She said, I don't know what you see in her. She's just a gymnastics coach. And I was like, right, fuck you then. And it's always like stuck in my brain that like she said that. And it's kind of driven me every time I think that. I'm like, she's just a gymnastics coach. She's just a gymnastics coach. And it kind of drives me to get more. And I think to my success, I mean, they'll still have a long way to go, but I think just putting up with the shit sometimes. Like, I think there's a lot of people in like the new generation coming up, and they kind of, you know, we see it in so many different industries. They're like, oh, I want this amount of pay as soon as I'm out of uni. I want this amount of pay. And it's like, bro, you've got to sit in the fucking shit for a long time sometimes until you can get to where you want to be. And just understanding that and knowing that it's all worth something and it will be worth something, I think is what has kind of gotten me to where I am. And I think being excited for every little thing that happens and making sure that you're excited for it, it keeps it fresh and it keeps it interesting. And I don't know.
You probably summed it up there too before when you mentioned that you were the junior producer and your mum said, oh, you got to quit, you're getting paid shit, but you hung in there and reap the benefits now. And it might be 10 or 11 years later that those benefits have come through rather than doesn't happen overnight.
But I do agree. I do agree with you, Loren, because even in our industry, you get employees or people looking for jobs, and they come and interview them, but they all want to start at the top.
Yeah,
they all want $150,000, and they all want to drive a Maserati, and I want an hour for lunch and this and hang on a minute, mate, like this, you get your ambition. It doesn't
work that way.
You're getting your ambitions and your abilities mixed up here.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are the biggest challenges you face in the industry?
I mean, I think obviously, and being a woman is hard in the industry because there are fewer roles and you do get sort of typecast. So I've always been very mindful of not becoming the dumb person or anything like that. And even though I have done a bit of that, and that's just but that's just me. Like, I'm just asked questions, and I think I'm more reflective of the audience. Like, especially when we do a lot of sport on Triple M, and I am not like, I know a bit about AFL, but other than that, I'm like,
gymnastics.
Gymnastics.
Which we didn't really report on.
No.
But I would ask questions that probably came across as dumb, but I was like, maybe there's someone sitting in the car that has the same question. Like, I feel like I was kind of representing a part of the audience in that as well. Other challenges, I think, as much as social media has changed the way radio works, and like if you are a radio show, social media page has this massive component of that as well. A lot of bosses and a lot of work and stuff comes out of Instagram followers now. And as much as it's doing a really good thing for the industry, it's kind of like you've got to be building your audience and doing this at the same time. And you're kind of overlooked for a lot of things if your followers aren't a certain amount and things like that. Like, that can be a bit frustrating. But again, if you've got the skills, I think that is also changing now. I think we're coming out of this era of the hottest person on reality TV gets a gig in radio. I think that's kind of, that era has passed. And I think radio bosses are realizing again that they need people who are passionate about radio. And I think that has changed. And I think that's why me and Nick, we've got this job because I think they they saw how hard we'd worked, and they knew how passionate we were about radio as it's a thing. Yeah.
That's good.
Do you find, and it's interesting, I asked this question that we're on our podcast, but do you find podcasting, because it seems every second man and his dog's now got a podcast, and even the shows that you've been involved in have had to build their podcasts, and I didn't listen live, I listened via the podcast to the shows. Do you find that's had an impact on radio?
I think so, yeah. We live in a world where anyone can get anything on demand pretty much.
Anytime, yeah.
And so I think, the Marty Shugold Show podcast was hugely successful. And a lot of people, we were a breakfast radio show in Melbourne, and people only thought that we did podcasting, or they only thought we did the afternoon show. And that just shows how you can put all this work into this breakfast show, and more people are consuming it in
After
a
hours.
completely different way and after hours. And I think that is the future. Like there will come a time where radio will still be there, it'll be a thing, but it'll become this product that you can just consume whenever you want. And that's why radio podcasting, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
And I think more
Agreed.
radio shows are starting to realize that now as well, the importance of making their shows in a more podcast friendly format, or doing it in a way that you can show a company that, well, okay, if radio goes completely tits up, like we still have a product that we can offer you here as well. So I think.
So the best bits are the hot hits of a night.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't put our whole show up, I don't think, but just bits and pieces, because ours is obviously very current, but a lot of our interview, like we put up a lot of our full interviews, because some of them are super interesting and you can only air like 8 minute of them unless you're doing a full takeover. So
they're good.
And they could just live there forever. Yeah.
That was interesting from a podcaster's point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that, and you said about interviews and that, have you ever been starstruck? Or on the flip side, and you don't have to mention any names, but did a celebrity not live up to the hype in your eyes?
I've been starstruck. The most insane moment for me, I think, on this show currently is when we were only like a month in, and it was like 2 days before my birthday, and they said, we've got you guys an interview with Billie Eilish. And I was like, what? Billie Eilish? And it was in person. We went to this mansion that she was staying in, and she sat opposite me. And I was like, I felt like I was just looking at not a real person. I was like, this is just bizarre. And she was so lovely and so beautiful.
Did you get to go to the show as well?
I did, yeah, on my birthday. So I went to the show that day. She was incredible, like one of the best performers ever. And then I remember when I worked at Nova and I got into an elevator and I was just going to work, and I was on the phone to Jess, who she was my Sydney person. And this woman got in and she was talking in this really like British accent. And I looked and I was like, oh my God, that's Sporty Spice. Like it was Mel C. And she was in the elevator with me with like her makeup person. And I was just like this. And she was like, are you all right? And I was like, no, I'm not all right. What the fuck? And she's like, it's your little inner child. Is she having a meltdown? I was like, yes, yes, she is. And she like had a photo with me. She was so lovely. So I think that was the most like surprising starstruck I've ever been. I was like, what the hell? In terms of anyone kind of not living up to the hype, not really. I mean, there's some local people I could list, but there's no one like on a big scale that kind of has let me down in anyway, or like not kind of lived up to the hype. Yeah, I think they're all now very media trained too, and kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've got to be if they want to sell records or whatever deals or whatever they've got going on.
That's right. They've got to be.
They've got to be. They've got to be that way. So
Agreed.
Now, away from work, how do you relax?
How do I relax? I play The Sims. I still play The Sims, which is just like a computer game that I've been playing since I was literally 11, and I've played every sort of iteration of it. It's like The Sims 4 now, and anyway. And I go through stages. Sometimes I won't play for like a year, and then I'll be like, damn, I really want to play The Sims. And then I will play every moment that I get for like 6 months, and then not play again for a little while. But this has been a long Sims time. I think I'm going through some stuff, so I'm like, gotta play The Sims to forget. I like to go out with friends and stuff. I guess it's been weird in Sydney because I think my life has sort of changed so much since I've been here, and I don't have my people around me, and I can't really do those things at the moment that I used to enjoy. Like I do have friends here, but not the same. So I'm kind of going through a bit of a transformative period of my life, I think, at the moment.
But you've got your dog.
Got my dog. Got my dog. That's the important thing. Yeah.
For those that don't know, if you jump on Loren's social media, she has, I believe, an Italian greyhound.
Yes.
Called Noni. And you have to tell us how Noni's name. I know how Noni's name come across.
Noni's massive on social media.
Yeah. Yes, Noni's probably got her own following.
Yeah, he does. So Noni is, I always wanted an Italian greyhound. There's a YouTube creator called Jenna Marbles. She was like one of the kind of first YouTube creators, and she was just absolutely hilarious. And she had an Italian greyhound called Kermit. And I was like, oh my God, he's so funny. I really want one. And then I never, like, obviously I wasn't in a financial place, or like I lived with people. I was like, oh, I just wanted to be fully ready because it's a huge commitment getting a little puppy. And then got in touch with a breeder who was in Cairns. His name's Darren, and he was awesome. And I said, I saw you've got like puppies coming. He's like, oh yeah, but unfortunately they've all been allocated, they've all been sold. And I was like, damn, okay. And then he messaged me like 6 weeks later and he said, are you still looking for a little like blue boy? Because one that I've got, he was meant to go to this other family, but they've sold their house, and I'm not going to give my dog, like one of my puppies, to people who don't have a house to live in. They haven't bought a new place yet. And I was like, oh my God. And he sent me the photo of little tiny Noni. And I was like, that's my soulmate.
You fell in love straight away.
Yeah. So it was meant to be. And yeah, so he's named after Noni Hazelhurst. And I know that that's confusing because she's a woman and he's a boy, but whatever. We live in a gender fluid society and it suits him. Like now that he's Noni, I'm like, there's no other name for him.
And Noni doesn't get offended by it either. No.
Nah, he doesn't care.
No.
Excellent.
He's fantastic.
Now, to end our podcast, we ask our Fast 5 questions just to get to know you a little bit better. What would be your last meal?
Seafood laksa.
Nice. I don't think we've had that.
No, we haven't had that before. That's
really?
That's
my favourite.
That's a good one.
What's your drink of choice to go with your seafood laksa?
Like alcoholic drink or
yes.
regular?
What's your go-to?
Dirty martini. Extra dirty.
extra
vodka.
Extra dirty martini.
I even have a tattoo of a martini.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think one of my daughters has got one like that.
I was going to say you could be part of Clayton's family, one of his daughters, or has she got a schooner glass?
I think, yeah, Chloe's got a schooner glass, yeah. Her and her lunatic friends are out one night and, yeah. They all decide they're going to get, one got a wine glass, Chloe got a schooner.
I love that.
What is your favourite movie?
Oh, my God. I have too many. I mean, Robin Hood Men in Tights is right up there. And so is Free Willy. I love Free Willy. Then all of the Lord of the Rings.
What a variety you've got there, Loren.
Yes.
I love it, yeah. And I'm a big bandit for just like rewatching the same thing over and over again. I'm like very clearly have ADHD, but that's okay.
We are too. You get your favourites and you watch them over.
Yes.
Mad Max 2. How many times did we watch that?
Plenty. I'm probably the Castle.
yeah.
I'm up to probably in the hundreds watching the Castle.
Tell him you're dreaming.
So yes.
What do you know about lead?
Who is the most famous person you have in your phone?
Probably Adam Gilchrist.
Yes.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. That'll do. That one wins.
Yeah. He was actually the first guest on the Marty Shoegold show when you went to Triple M. There you go.
He was.
There you go. A little bit of trivia. Adam Gilchrist. Yep, that's right up there.
He's a great guy.
I was waiting for you to say Billie Eilish.
No, God, I wish.
You'd be on a stalker or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. She'd be like, I've already blocked you. What are you doing?
Yeah. Billy Loren again? Oh, not you again.
Now, finally, if heaven does exist, God's done a little bit of renovating up there. He's taken out the pearly gates and he's put in a pearly roller shutter from KRGS Doors. What would God say when you arrive at the pearly roller shutter?
Oh, my God. He'd probably say, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be downstairs. Go away.
You've got a radio show to do tonight. Get back down there.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of here.
Don't be late. Loren Barry, I really appreciate you coming on the KRGS Doors podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job on radio, and we love listening to you. Not only Drew and myself, but many, many, many others in the work that you do. So, yeah, thanks for coming on and telling the Loren Barry story. And appreciate it. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and hours.
Of course, I mean, obviously, yeah. We can do it again sometime.
Oh, that'd be tremendous. That'd be tremendous, yeah.
Just to our listeners, I'll tell you how down to earth and a good chick Loren is, and I'll use that term. We reached out to her on Instagram, shot her a message, and she said, "Yep, more than happy." And a couple of emails later, and here we are. Really appreciate it, Loren.
Seamless.
Anytime, guys.
No, fantastic. Thank you, Loren. Enjoy your day, and have a good show tonight. And much appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks very much, Loren.
Bye.
Cheers, babe. That brings the door down on the 57th episode and our chat with Loren Barry, radio host and producer. Check out Loren on her socials at Instagram, Lorenchino, Lorenchino, or listen to her on the hot hits around the country from 7 till 10 p.m. Monday till Thursday and 3 to 5 on Saturdays. If you have missed any previous episodes of the KRGS Doors podcast, you can download them from our website, www.krgsdoors.com.au/podcast, or on your favourite podcast player, search KRGS Doors. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to ensure you don't miss any future episodes. This also boosts our ranking and my ego. The other thing I suggest is, if you have enjoyed the podcast, visit your favourite podcast player and leave a review or a rating. Keep your ears peeled for our upcoming next episode where we speak to Renee Ballard from Lex Design Agency. With over 15 years' experience in marketing and communications, Renee is responsible for ensuring the strategy behind the design Lex delivers is underpinned in research and data. She tells us how Lex Design Agency started and her biggest challenges. It is certainly not a chat to miss. Keep your ears peeled for this one. I've been your host, Drew Blackman, and you've been fantastic for tuning in today. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Thanks. Till next time. The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au.